All right, Dave, here we go. We got a high danger and a warning today. More snow tonight. What's the situation?
Yeah, Mark, we went with a high danger today at mid and upper elevations, and then considerable at the lower elevations in the Salt Lake, Ogden, and Provo area regions. And what we don't know right now is what our timing is going to be. We don't know whether or not it's going to be additional weight, additional wind, and kind of what the tipping point is for when we're going to start to see avalanches failing kind of around the central Wasatch, Salt Lake, Ogden, and Provo area mountains.
So, so we've seen a few avalanches here and there, but describe what you mean by the tipping point.
Yeah, so as of this evening, we had 6 reported avalanches that came in to the Utah Avalanche Center from the Salt Lake, Ogden, and Provo area mountains. We're not sure if it was a lack of avalanche activity reported because there were fewer skiers out and riders out because of the higher avalanche danger. And we've just seen so much snow over the last week, with such a weak, faceted, old snow surface that we're expecting to see more avalanches.
Yeah. And it seems similar across other parts of the state. We're getting snow, we're getting wind, um, but the timing is pretty tricky to nail down exactly when things are just going to become unglued. Um, so this helps me kind of process things, and we're talking about our uncertainty. What helps me sometimes is to back up to what we are certain about, and really think about what we know. And so where are we with that?
Yeah, so what we do know right now is that we have an old, weak snow surface, which has been covered in a number of videos, observations, and posts. And that was this weak surface snow that formed over the 25 days, give or take, we had of very cold, clear weather. And what we know is that there are going to be avalanches that do occur on this layer. We know that we've already had a lot of snow and wind, and that we have more snow and wind forecast over the next 4 or 5 days. And so what we know is that we are going to hit a tipping point at some point within the next handful of days. And so that's what we know right now. The big thing that I've been looking for is to try to see if there's been areas where we start to see cracking and collapsing on lower angle slopes. And just this evening, I'll share. And you can see this picture is of Days Fork, of a low angle slope in Days Fork, where the reporting party was able to trigger a collapse and a gigantic crack with shooting cracks over 100 feet. And that to me shows that the weak layer that's on the ground is now capable of cracking and collapsing. And if you were to tip that slope up to a much steeper angle above 30 degrees, you'd probably start to see avalanches.
Yeah, totally. A big collapse with a shooting crack like that's an avalanche. It just wasn't steep enough. So
Yeah, and that was a great observation that came in that shows that we're starting to get to that tipping point. Based on what we've seen and what you've seen when you're out traveling around, Mark, what's your travel advice for tomorrow?
man, like that weak layer, I have found it everywhere. It's like so easy to find. It's so easy to see. It's just lurking under your feet. So I'm knowing it's there and knowing it has this load of snow on it is all I need for me to just simply, I'm avoiding all avalanche train, and I'm sort of stepping back. And it, for me, it's just time to wait and see how things play out. And it's just slicing it too thin to try and get into avalanche train right now. We're just too close to that tipping point. And to be honest, for me, it doesn't really matter what the danger is, what avalanche problems exist. We have widespread weak snow. It's getting loaded from snow and wind, and I'm just going to avoid avalanche train.
Yeah, that seems like a great call, Mark. There's plenty of great travel to be had on lower angle slopes below 30 degrees. And as long as it keeps snowing, we're going to be skiing the greatest snow on earth.
Yeah. And I guess that gets to you and I were talking early this morning. Um, it's kind of a struggle to figure out what the danger is. And we kind of go back and forth because the likelihood of avalanches happening sometimes is unknowable. But we often agree on what the travel advice would be. And what was the kind of, where did you land this morning with that travel advice and danger ratings?
Yeah, the travel advice this morning was based off of a high avalanche danger rating, which was to avoid avalanche terrain. You could probably argue that the avalanche activity that we saw reported back fell more into the considerable range, but the travel advice is still based on that high avalanche danger of avoiding avalanche terrain because of that level of uncertainty.
Yeah. Okay. Well, cool. Well, we're excited to see snow, and seems like we're in for a little bit of a wild ride for the next few days. And good luck tomorrow morning
Yeah, thanks, Mark.
working.
Appreciate it.